sense of soul.
Hey Soul Seekers, it's Shanna. Journey with me to discover how people around the world awaken to their true sense of soul. Now go grab your coffee. Open your mind, heart, and soul.
It's time to awaken.
Today on Sense of Soul, I have Toni Ghazi, known as the Antarean-Heart, who is a channel and spirit guide. Toni works with the Praying-Mantis beings and the Antares Stargate to bring lessons and messages of unconditional love and integration from interdimensional and extraterrestrial beings. His work aims to guide humanity back to its truest essence by activating a remembrance of who we are, and he's with us today to share his amazing journey. Please welcome Toni.
Hi, love.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Nice to meet you.
Oh my God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Likewise. Listen, the universe brings all of our versions together to reconnect because we're mirrors to each other, so it's really exciting.
Wow, I can't believe you're saying that because that's exactly what I was feeling before I got on with you and learning about you.
Yeah.
You've said things that I was just like, oh, that's exactly how I felt, or that's exactly what I've been going through. And you're right. So there you go. Yeah.
Trust in the divine. You know, like when I get interviewed or like when I have channeling sessions for clients or on stage, I mean, you know, right? Because you're intuitive. Like I never plan these things. I have no clue what people are going to ask. You just really trust what's going to come through and trust what's being delivered is really is for all of us to hear. It all unfolds in its own magical way, like to the recipient on their journey, right? So all the messages like they get delivered aren't necessarily for this now moment when like you're listening. It's just like for it to be embedded in your field and it's all these little like keys that you have as you're like down the road of self-discovery that like things
Yes.
drop in and unlock and things. So
Lately, there's been this, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who are star seeds and who are put here
yeah.
to have this journey of discovering who they really are and to fully embody that and live it. And that is the true purpose of life. And I'm really seeing this lately. This is the theme. There's always a theme. And I talk about this all the time. This is the theme right now.
Listen, I'm trying not to interrupt you. I'm like completely silent because I want you to be in your flow. I mean, you're absolutely right. And like the praying mantis is like when I channel them, not every person asks like what the purpose of life is, but there were a few that have asked like along that, or what's the purpose of my life or what's the purpose of life? And they always have said, and they keep kind of like evolving it, as I'm going through, is just for you to experience the all. Because if we believe that we're divine, infinite beings, we're infinite. Like we keep going and going and going, going forever. It never ends. How else are you going to experience your complete totality as the infinite being if you don't experience everything, every part of it, which is whether good, ugly, evil, in between, gray shade, all these shades. But like through the eyes of creation, it doesn't judge and it doesn't see like shades and it doesn't see the good and the evil. It just sees everything as experiences to allow you like to expand more. And you're absolutely right. We're becoming very clear. And it's not one mission or one label. I'm a man, I'm a realtor, I'm a channel, I'm an architect, I'm whatever, I'm a doctor. That's the one in the sea of infinity that you are. It's just tapping into all of you, all of you.
Yeah. And there's not one way, right?
Exactly. There's so many ways. So
Nice.
I'm like so excited. I'm, oh my God, you get it on the
Yeah.
grandest level. So thank you.
I mean, we're also very different. We've come from different places, our experiences, our soul's experiences. I had heard you say something. You had to pretty much shut everything out around you. Stop listening to other people channeling things. And you had to focus on yourself and listen to what was happening that you were receiving. I had to do the same exact thing, especially through, I've been studying the Gnostic Gospels, and everyone wanted to tell me their version of what this meant. I'm like, well, what's any different than I was Catholic my whole life, and they told me what this text meant. So I didn't want to know. So I didn't want to read the books. I didn't want other people's opinions. I wanted to experience it for myself. So it was my truth.
1000%. And I totally forgot about that moment. I don't know like when I said that because not too many people, and I don't know how the question like was posed where I answered what I answered, but it was my self-revelation of, I mean, look, when I first awoke, when it was when COVID occurred. But look, when you awake, like you awake, look, there's one day where you're like awakened for 2 or 3 hours and then you're back to life. 3D for the next 3 months or whatever. It's all these little trickles, right? And like initially, I was obsessed with having channeled sessions with everyone, like anyone I could meet. Give me a session. And I have thousands of sessions with all walks of life. Because in a sense, I wanted to learn more. You tell me what you see, because I didn't trust myself. I didn't, I'm like, in a sense, believe that I have the wisdom like within me to tap into my own knowledge. And I relied on the rest of the world to tell me who they think I am or what they see. But then at one point, I just realized, oh my God, like this is great. And it was just natural, like shift where I haven't listened to any other channeled materials. And it doesn't matter because whatever channeled materials that person, me, like for example, like when I'm channeling from my perspective, from my being's perspective, from your perspective, from whoever is listening. That's one facet. And there's a million other versions that anyone else could experience what I'm saying in their own way, in their own truth, on their own journey. And I just became very involved on trying to listen my own messages. But it takes some practice to believe yourself, believe that you hear this, you trust this, because we're always being communicated with. We always have been. We never were taught that we are to listen. Right? We're always taught, listen to others, read this book, read Jesus, read Buddha, read Krishna, read this, read I don't know what else, which they're all good because they all help us to go within the self. But when you get to the point where you begin, in a sense, realizing it's like one thing to listen to others and have them like be the catalyst to go within. It's another thing where you like shut yourself out on purpose and be like, I want to listen fully to what my guides are telling me, because then you build a relationship like with your guides and you're empowering yourself that all that wisdom is within you. So 1,000,000% what you said.
Yeah. And I love what you just said just now. All the wisdom is within you. And when you start to trust yourself, it's like this inner journey. I felt like you did. There was this wisdom, and I was remembering things that Shanna in this life did not know.
Listen, I always say I know the way that I speak, like when I'm conscious. I know the vocabulary I use. They're almost repetitive. I sound like a robot at times if
Yeah.
but like when I channel and like these messages like come through, or like when I tap into my own essence and just clear my mind out of it, I know I did not say that because
I
Toni
know.
does not talk this way. Toni like does not read. I don't read books, by the way. I've never really read. I may have read 2 or 3 books in my whole life. I just don't have that capacity. I know whatever came through did not come from any text I read because I don't read a lot of text. So no way on earth. So I totally get you. It's a clear discernment of this is you now, and this is the higher self you or the other versions of you that are just communicating with you. And it's beautiful. It's just beautiful and so empowering and so loving and so self. We're not taught to be the self. We're not even taught to self-love. It's selfish to love you. Well, how can you love, truly experience the idea of unconditional love towards others if you don't even know how to do it for yourself? There is the illusion and the image of what self-love is that we're taught through books, through society, through marketing, through movies. But it's a very surface level of it. Unconditional love is a very powerful thing and very challenging thing for our mind to get to, because unconditional means unconditional, no condition, loving everything, all, every experience, every choice that you made, will make, are making, every choice others have made, will make, are making, all the versions of who they are, because it's all creation to begin with. War is creation, like the act of victimhood, like the act of perpetration, hurting others is an act of creation. And because we don't die, and look, like when you go through all these levels and like you have these realizations that there is no death, and I'm an infinite being, I'm always living. If there is no death, there isn't really like no killing of any being because you're always surviving. There's the removal of a costume, which is I'm in this human costume and I'm just removing it, and now I have the option to be the wind or to be a planet or to be a butterfly or to be an alien or a Pleiadian or a immense being or back to a human or a child. When you like see it like from that perspective, then you really like realize there's no killing like other people or other things. They're just helping them transition into a new version of who they are that was co-created between both to begin with. There is no I exert power on you and I end your life. It's a co-creation between both beings so each can learn. This being is like learning through the act of predation. This being is learning and expanding through the act of victimhood. And us as observers, we're witnessing this beautiful like display and allowing our hearts to expand and be more compassionate and expand our unconditionality of love. Because really when you begin to reach a level of loving everything as like being divine, everything as truly being as divine, and breaking the whole construct that we are disempowered, we are victims, we are bad people, we are good people, all those labels which are very judgmental that we created, when you let go of all of that and see we're all like beings on the stage of creation, having access and choices to anything we want to be. If I want to be a rich man today, I'm rich. If I want to be a poor man today, I'm poor. If I want to be like, a killer today, I can be a killer. If I want to be like a victim, I can be a victim. If I can be I get to choose what to experience today to allow me to expand. Because within me, deep down, we all know we never die. And how else do we expand if we don't experience the new? And new means everything. New doesn't only mean the good side of things, the love and light aspect. New also means the dark side of things. And dark from the eyes of creation is not like dark, like as in evil, but like dark in the aspect that you don't see. It's in the shadow, it's hidden, you cannot see it. So shine the light on it and like give it credence, give it life, give it validity that it is part of creation. It is part of creation for me to be that side that my society said I cannot be, because if I am, or I even think about it, I'm a bad person. We keep shutting out our infiniteness. But it's a very other level to get to that stage, because you have to break down the whole barrier, the whole paradigm of what society said, good, evil, this whole polarity of things. So listen, if you talk to me like even like a year and a half ago, I could not have just said what I said. This is very clear. Although I was awakening, I wasn't this awakened. And I would have said, you're insane, you're crazy. That's a bad thing to say, or that's a bad, But as you evolve, you begin like realizing that you're the void, you're the infinite, you're the goodness, you're also like the bad, and you're everything. And in the moment you embrace it, you realize you're embracing your totality as the creator.
Did you happen to look at my post that I posted yesterday?
No, I get so many posts, it's so tough. But what did you say?
No, it's just random, but I made a video. It's of one of my favorite Gnostic texts ever. It's called Thunder Perfect Mind. Have you ever heard of it? You'll love it. Can I read it to you? It's quick.
Please,
I'll
oh my
just read
God,
you a quick
please.
version. So this was found in the Nag Hammadi. I am the whore and the holy one. I am the wife and the virgin. I am the mother and the daughter. I am the members of my mother. I am the barren one, and many are her sons. I am whose wedding is great, and I have not taken a husband. I am the midwife, and she who does not bear. I am the solace of my labor pains. I am the bride and the bridegroom, and it is my husband who begot me. I am the mother of my father, and the sister of my husband, and he is my offspring.
As you were reading, I showed the chills like for your audience on my arm, but I didn't want to interrupt your flow. No coincidence whatsoever. And like for your audience, as when we came on, I don't know Shanna, and like she doesn't. We just met. She already had a synchronicity the moment we began speaking, and I'm not surprised. Whatever just I spoke, which I had no plan of talking to, verbatim in a sense, you went to great details on what the all is in the infinite. So that is wisdom. That is wisdom when you realize all of that and you break the old paradigm, the old definition system that we were fed in our minds, programmed to be. And that's realization, self-realization that I'm the infinite.
And I think it's also common, Toni, and I thought about this as you spoke.
Sure,
A lot of times we leave one dogma, like the big ones, the obvious ones,
sure.
and sometimes we move into the next. We're like trying to put ourselves back in the box because this is how our brain works. This is how it's used to this pattern. I have to go back into something else that is familiar and similar. You almost have to peel away all that and just sit with the self And you have all the wisdom and knowledge you need.
I mean, oh my God, there's I love you, I want to say, and I want your audience to know how much I love you because everything you're saying is like brain explosion, like brain explosion. 1000%. I mean, I even tell my people, like when I'm on stage and like I'm channeling like for the masses, I always tell them, look, I may be a channel today, but I came to a realization, I don't know how long the mantis connection. Of course, I'm a mantis forever because I'm everything, I'm all of it all the time. But which focus am I on today that's helping me get the keys for my path? Look, I may be the channel of the praying mantis beings now, like for the next year or 8 months, but I know clearly that I may shift and I will shift into other things. They'll always be part of me, they'll always be playing a role, but the heavy focus, in a sense, like the lens, may shift on my path. And this is how I allow myself to keep expanding because I'm not putting myself in the box that I am the praying mantis channel and that's what I came here on earth to do. Only that I have truly realized simply through my journey from like a year and a half ago, which no, I didn't plan to be here. I had no clue about channeling or psychics or UFOs or aliens or all these events that I attend. Absolutely zero knowledge of any of it. Just looking back in 1 year, how I evolved in a super accelerated pace really tells me, and I saw like the clarity that I have no clue where I'm going to be next month or next year. Like, no,
Don't be
you know, I
attached.
can sit here and say, I'm going to be this and that, and like try to create a 3 year plan, which I never vibrated with that idea. Like in the whole corporate world, drives me nuts when people ask, where do you see, like, you know, where do you see
Yeah.
yourself in 3 years? I'm like, I could die tomorrow. I have no clue. Why you ask? Like, I'm in the now moment. Ask me about what's happening right now. So, all these things of like limitation that we place ourselves in that box. I'm going to be this for the next 3 years. I've let go of all of that. I'm just trusting every day. I have no clue who I am every day. And the more that I have no clue who I am, the more that I realize I'm finding out more about who I am, which is so beautiful. It's
Yes.
so tricky because the more that you think I'm that and I'm that one, you
Yeah.
realize, oh shit, I'm not that. There's
Yeah.
more of me.
Don't be attached to the ideas, you're right, of the world, because you're right. If I did that, then I literally would be doing the same thing as like religion has done, right? Like, this is what I believe. I believe this in this moment. But if I continue to evolve, my beliefs, my ideas may change. And that's where I am too. Hold on to nothing too tight because you don't know what's going to happen.
We're always evolving, we're always changing. But although having said that, I'm going to take it like one step level, like for your audience, don't judge yourself. And judgment is such a big thing in our society. We've been so conditioned to judge everything. Every thought, every idea, every argument, every human. Even when you become like enlightened and like awakened and expand, don't judge the
Yeah.
path, all
Mhm.
the choices that you made to get you to here.
Mhm.
Everything was so divinely orchestrated and so perfect, the men's being say, to allow you to come to the state of the now moment that you're in, where you became a bit more enlightened than the next or the before now moment. So don't judge all those versions of you that made what you think bad decision or good decision or whatever. All of it was beautiful orchestration of creation. So love you fully, love all the journeys, all the choices, all the keys, all the path you've taken, because none of it is judged by creation. The mantises were very clear through all their channels. Creation never, ever, 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 ever judges you. Ever,
Mhm.
ever.
Yeah.
Every decision we make is divine. The feeling of good, bad, and evil, whatever, is just a small label that we placed on that energy to experience what that word means. That's it. Right? Because our energy is always evolving, we're always flowing, our thoughts are always flowing, we're all frequency, our decisions are all like vibration and frequency, and there is no meaning to them. We create the meaning through the judgment, through the polarity, through our limitation, our society's like rules and regulations just allows more flavor, we'll say,
Mm.
they're here, we'll say, because I don't talk we, will say, into our life. And it just allows you simply to expand and expand your scope into the fullness of who you are.
You know what? This is interesting, Toni. I want
Yeah.
to know if you felt this way. When I was going through, it was about 2 years. It was like a 2 year thing. I felt like I was in this bubble. I felt like, and I used to describe this on the podcast, like I knew there was something outside of that. It was almost like, there's someone even had one time said, is it kind of like, there's like a very vicious dog like around the corner? I felt like I was in this bubble and that not anything could penetrate it. I mean, nothing could get in it. And it was, I would say that I never felt lonely though. It was like I was existing in two spaces. Actually, I have said that before. Like I felt like I had one foot here and one foot here all the time. And that was where I was expanding. That was when I shut everything out. I wasn't calling on guides and archangels or any of the things that I had prior. And I remember just saying, it's just been my higher self that I've been, I guess, connecting with. And I was receiving messages. But then as I was coming back, I felt like I came back and put 2 feet on this other side. Right away, I noticed fear. I noticed the dog. The dog was like coming right at me. And I'm just being very vulnerable right now. I mean, this has been my journey. I mean, and right now where I'm at is a very strange time too. Say over the past month, I felt very disassociated from Earth. I don't know what's going on. Something big is shifting, huge. Like I'm good, but I've been waking up every night. I mean, there's been some major things happening. The veil seems extremely thin. I've been having lots of experiences. I want to go back in that bubble, to be honest with you. Like, how do I get back to that bubble?
Look, you mentioned the word like when you were in the bubble, and I am paraphrasing like a bit,
Yeah.
that you, I'm going to close my eyes because I want to go back to the moment of exactly when you said it, that you did not feel alone.
Yeah, I
That
didn't.
rang a bell. Of course he didn't, because your fullness, your whole infinite was within your bubble, because we do live in bubbles. My husband always says, he gets so upset at me sometimes. And he's kind of awakening in his own way. He hasn't been like super spiritual. I don't know if he believed in like, in God or whatever, and he may have at one point. But he, like when COVID happened or when the whole political thing is like, happening, he's like, Toni, you don't live in this reality. And I look at him and I literally,
Yeah.
I'm like, exactly, I don't, and I choose not to. He's like, you're crazy. You need to come back to this reality. I'm like, that's your choice, and that's everybody else's choice. No, not that I'm disassociating like from those realities.
Mhm.
I am powerful enough to choose what reality I want to be in, but I can still observe through my bubble, which is yours. Other people's realities, they are ascended masters. I see them. You have the ability and the power to choose whatever life you want. Who am I to disrupt or say or alter or change your reality? I really like can't. But I'm here to honor you. Whatever, however you want to live your life and see your world and experience your ascension from your definition, from your, it's your holy experience. I am an absolute honor. I'm here to witness and observe humbly, and that's it. But within my world and my bubble, you're welcome to join it and you'll have fun. But if not, don't worry about it. That's my bubble. I'm the creator of my own bubble. So I'm
I'm
creating all kinds of
lucky.
magic and miracles. And and I always say, I'm of pure love and light, like the most highest love and light. Unless you're of that vibration, and this is like what I say, you just cannot enter this realm. Like you
I
have
know
to
that.
be,
No.
and then you're welcome to enter. And if you're not, you may stand. I always say, like the devil, like can come down from wherever, which he's me, like to begin with, and he can stand an inch in front of me, and I can just watch him, and he can watch me, la la la, and we're just observing each other. But he's not in my bubble if I'm observing him. He's only in my bubble if I allow him to. We all have free will choice. Like this
Mhm.
is the point, to experience what we choose to experience. But sometimes, like what you described, is you needed that, like in a sense, contrast of I'm in the bubble and I'm not in the bubble, to give you that real like
You're right.
understanding that there is two, but you're always in it in like in the same way. And when you like become acclimated to these energies, because you're to, I mean, like we're all shifting in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, all these realities at once. So it may be happening, but you're not aware of it because you have defined that stark contrast to be a great separation, that oh, if I'm feeling this way, I'm in the bubble. If I'm feeling like that way, I'm outside of the bubble. When
Mhm.
in reality, you're now mixed together, and you have the power to make that separation, to re-experience it, or just know that you are in it all the time, but yet you're experiencing like the other one without having any effect. You're just observing that dog that you before didn't see, but thought, but felt he was there or she was there, but now you are like visually like seeing it. him or her or it there, but it still has no effect on you. It's just like different perspectives of like vision, right? Because the Mantis also talked about vision and experiencing things. Like they talked about vision not from the eye perspective that I am looking at you and I'm seeing this. There's vision with the heart. There's vision like with energies, with your intention. Like vision comes in infinite ways that our minds cannot even conceive of it.
I think that's why Jesus in the Gnostic Gospels always said, this is for eyes that can see, for ears that can hear. It wasn't like a literal thing.
And I'm getting chills just for your audience.
Yeah.
Totally, totally. And look, I grew up Christian, like for your audience to know, right? So I'm Lebanese from Lebanon, from the Middle East, and I moved to the US when I was 15 years old, spoke zero English, straight to high school, which
Wow.
was crazy. So I have the whole Christianity like thing in like my blood. Um,
Mhm.
and I've always and for I don't know for like 40 years I had icons and Mother Mary and Jesus and all the saints from the Middle East and like Saint Anne and Saint Charbel and Saint this and Saint like icons after icons
Yeah.
filled in my room, filled. And then I woke up one morning and I just realized I am them.
hmm
And my mind had a struggle to get rid of them. I didn't want to throw them away. I felt bad storing them. I felt bad donating them. I'm like, oh my God. I felt bad giving them for free because I was going to give them free. But I'm like, what am I doing? Is this the wrong thing to do? There was a mind struggle to even, it was like weeks of me struggling. But then I decided, no, they're me to begin with. And they're within my heart. I don't need like a statue in front of me to remind me of who I am. I am Mother Mary. I am Jesus. I am Krishna. I am Buddha. I am all of it in here in my heart. That's why if you look at Jesus's, all the paintings, there's a heart with flames, or like Mother Mary, heart with flames, or like chariots. I don't know. There's always an aspect to the heart because the heart is the gateway to all. The
Okay,
uncon-
I feel like I'm a Gnostic or something, but
Okay.
in the Gnostic text in Thomas, Jesus said, this is what Thomas said. He said that Jesus said, the kingdom is inside of you and outside of you, but when you come to know yourself, then you will be known.
Then, oh my, like these are really heavy chills. And then you, sorry, here.
Then you will be known. That's almost like me in the bubble. It's almost like what you just said. When you realize that it's inside of you and outside of you, when the foot's on both sides, ooh,
Then you will know who.
then you will be known.
You will be known, but
You will know yourself. Yeah.
fully,
You will
fully,
understand that you are. Yeah.
fully. And I
You're
have
grown.
more chills right now. It's crazy. Like the can you see the chills from here?
No wonder why I love that quote so much. I say it all the time.
It's a reminder for you what you and look, it's so funny because sometimes like you gravitate towards these expressions and like they mean one thing at one point,
Right.
but
So true.
the meaning expands and expands and like now you had a full realization of how it was all interconnected to your experience that you had that you didn't need that expression to
Now.
begin with, but now that expression helped you know that in that moment you fully experienced all of you. And look, once we know that all of us, you don't need to fully experience it again because the experience to expand yourself allows you the knowledge to know you're all. But once you're all, you're all. You don't need to prove to yourself or remind yourself you're all. You're in it. You're vibrating as all. So you're
Right.
living the all,
Yeah.
you
Know
know?
thyself. That's how you get there. Owning that divine feminine and the balance of, the divine masculine as well.
Yeah.
There's a difference. People often say, oh, you should have the balance of feminine and masculine. No, you need the balance of the divine feminine and the divine masculine.
I'm going to give you the perfect example that just happened in Mexico. I was invited by a medicine woman, like to do plant medicine in Mexico. The fact that I was invited, I mean, I've never held like space, I've attended like two or three like plant medicines, I would say like earth medicines because it wasn't plant. I cannot like divulge more than that. So like, we go to Teotihuacan, Mexico, like 2.5 weeks ago. And like this was for 12 women. And like the whole journey was like to invoke like the goddess within, like the whole divine like within you. But it was purely for women. So the fact that I was invited by this medicine woman to hold, and I'm a man, to hold space like for these women was an honor beyond imagination, and I
Yeah.
helped her assisted. The third day I was after I'm like I was invited, I had this like download I've always been a great sleeper. I can get up and like go to the restroom 12 times. I can go right back to bed. I can take cat nap. I never like struggled sleeping. But when I like began awakening, I would wake up in the middle of the night and I can't sleep for 2 or 3 hours. I am my body physically exhausted, my mind. I'm on the phone. I'm trying to watch TV just to pass time for my eyes to close. And then I realized that I have spirits working. There's a lot of downloads. You just don't resist. As tired as you are, just be, and you'll fall
Yeah.
asleep when you're meant to. And there's a lot of upgrades that happen. Well, during that night, I got a calling that if you have been invited to observe the rebirth, because it was a lot of rebirth, of the gods, of the goddesses, like within these women, and
Oh,
that they gave you the safe space, you need to honor like what a goddess means.
no.
I've never had an interest to wear a dress. I've never had an interest to wear makeup or have jewelry ever. I just began doing my nails and like that's another story.
I love them.
Thank you. And like they all have meanings like spirituality. Um, and I woke up just knowing I need to step into what a goddess means. Like for me in like my 3D and like I bought like 6, 7 dresses, all kinds of beautiful jewelry and like head chains. I didn't know what head chains were, like crazy
Right.
stuff on Etsy.
You were just gonna physically embody it as well as spiritually.
And I did throughout the whole like 6 days while walking in like Mexico by the pyramids in front of thousands of people. And of course, during the whole ceremonies, just to honor me. And I felt the most masculine in my life. That was a surprise for me.
Wait, what?
Listen, I mean, listen, if you look at me, I have beautiful dresses and I'll show you some photos. Fabulous dress,
Okay.
fabulous dresses. Here, let me show you like if you like for your
I
audience.
love the way that Source teaches us.
Very, very,
'Cause we
and
think we know, but we don't.
completely. And I knew there are lessons like within there. And I also knew that the way that I have like described what goddess is within me, which I never tapped into my goddess, I knew that although I'm using like the act of like the visuality, the
Yeah.
visual of things, the dress, the earrings, or whatever, as as the feminine, I knew deep down that that's not what it meant. That's just my very limited version of what it means, but it's going to uncover things, as I'm. So this is one of the dresses,
Oh wow. Oh my God. You looked gold.
and like, look, my friend is a fashionista a bit, so she helped me with the makeup, or she helped me with a lot of things.
Wow. Okay.
I am walking like through these pyramids with thousands of people, and I didn't know how men would react. Like, of course, women may like, and you have some women may like not like it. And it's not about like my reception of how like they received it, but the expressions that I received, the like the encouragement, just they saw creation unfolding. They didn't see a man dressed in like the world.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
all like limitation. But the most beautiful thing that happened, like all these buses for young kids, like I don't know, like the age of like 5 to age 10 or 12, all of
Mhm.
them wanted to take pictures like with us, and it was the most heartwarming. These young
Wow.
kids that are still like evolving in the world like witnessed creation or creativity, and they just wanted to take pictures with us, and it was melted my heart to pieces. And I felt so masculine. I didn't change. I didn't feel like Toni. I didn't feel like I'm wearing a dress or I felt feminine. None of
Mhm.
that. It was the most powerful like feeling of me being more than who I am
Wow.
and breaking the barrier. And I have chills all over my body. Breaking the barrier of what pink means. Who in the hell said pink is girly or boyish or what? It's a color.
Yeah.
Like just small
The
things.
vibration. Yeah.
Vibration or a dress. Like who said dress has to be only for that's such a limited it's creation,
It's
it's flow of energy, flow of fabric.
yes.
The most masculine I felt during that experience, and it was the most humbling thing I've ever. And I have old women on the street, and I'm talking old, like 80, 90 years old, like walking on the street, like with a cane,
Yeah.
and they look at you and they want to take hugs with you, and they just
Oh,
observe, I don't know, whatever they observe from their lens. It was just the most heart-opening beauty.
yeah.
Speaking of masculine energy and then feminine energy, and like Teotihuacan, which is the god of, I mean, he's a beautiful god of all, just and it was just the most magical essence and experience I've ever been through.
So I had a similar learning with I had a friend who asked me because I like to do art. I do a lot of digital art, and
Sure.
she said, "Will you make me, I need a dragon. And I was like, oh, yes, because I am a dragon. So I'm 48, and this is my year as the dragon. And I was like, oh, yes, I will. And I made her this beautiful feminine dragon. I mean, I loved her. She took a long time to make, and she loved her too, when I gave it to her. And she came back a few weeks later and she goes, I think it's a masculine dragon. And I was like, no, it's not. It's gonna, are you sure you want a masculine? She's like, yeah, I think I do. And I was like, okay. So I made this dragon and I gave it to her. Actually, I even shared it with a few other people. And she came back and she goes, well, that's very menacing looking. That's robust. And I was like, you don't like it? And she's like, well, I was thinking more of like a divine masculine dragon. I made Putin dragon. I made all the toxic masculines in my life, and probably the ancestors before me had, that's what they experienced. And that's not what she wanted. Of course, she didn't want a Nazi dragon. So I had to really sit with myself and say, this is my expression of what masculine is. And I had actually shown a man who I met through my podcast, who I don't see him as a Nazi dragon. I said, I need to connect with you, your energy. This was deeply in me, and I didn't know was there until that moment. And I did. I came back with the beautiful masculine dragon, but it was a great teacher for me.
You said it. I didn't want to interrupt. And how beautiful, and like for the audience, like to hear your story, and I just wanted to pay attention to how you, as a creator, created this elaborate story, like to have attracted like this woman like into your life that says, please draw me whatever dragon you see or whatever. And the way that it unfolded from like the feminine dragon to your man was all mirrors for you. So
Yeah.
through her requesting like this intuitive painting, you got reflection back to you on how you viewed masculinity of a dragon is, which was your medicine that you needed. And then eventually she got what she needed after you healed yourself. Like this is how the universe works, guys. Every person that comes into your life, even if you walk down the street and you smile for a moment and like nod at a woman or a man or like a young child, know that that second of like nodding, whether it's a smile or just a look or just quick recognition, that creates impact. There's energy exchange. That's an ascended master like teaching you something and you teaching it something. And then we go
Mhm.
into the more elaborate like this, where when you begin redefining like your life and seeing everyone as ascended masters around you, mirrors, they are a mirror. When you look at a human, and I'm doing this like for the audience, if this is a human and I'm looking at this human, he is my mirror. Whatever's happening between us, he or she is showing me what I need to see that I cannot see clearly. He's holding a
Yeah.
mirror up to me. So when you begin redefining your life and living from that perspective and not judging the experience that you're having and judging others and allowing them to show you what you need to see, then you live
Mhm.
in a life of magic because then you appreciate and value and honor every person that comes into your life and every experience because you know it's a mirror for you that you are seeing within yourself so deep that you cannot see on your own.
And no one could teach you that. You can only experience that kind of wisdom for yourself.
Yes. And the moment you have one experience where you like clicks, a little light switch goes click, you're off. Like the train has gone and is going light speed, you know?
That was a big one for me.
Yeah, it's hard to say why. Like, no way on earth I'm attracting this like bad experience. No way on earth I'm attracting this low vibrational thing. No, because we're so taught. We're so conditioned. If you experience that, that means you did something bad. You have bad karma, which is all bullshit, by the way. There's no bad karma, guys. All of it is experiential. All of it is like learned lessons. All of it is for our expansion. But we've been so taught if you experience good, happy things, then you're doing something good. Oh, like God loves you. But
Right.
if you're
Mm,
experiencing the non-good things, oh,
right.
you must have done something. This is a past life thing that's coming back to you to haunt you. No. No, but if you experience your life that way and believe those belief systems, you begin experiencing what you're believing. But when you redefine them and say, no, these are my ascended masters coming to me, giving me a gift, giving me a beautiful gift every freaking day to show me more about who I am. When you really face that, then you live your life with magic and you're so grateful for everything that occurs around you. An aware thing you're creating, experience, a choice, or others, or whatever. It's and even on a whole collective level, what
Yeah.
happens in the world, like in politics, is a mirror for humanity for all of us to see. So
Yeah, it's so true.
yeah,
So true. So where we're at right now in the world, it's an interesting time to be alive.
yes,
I say this often. You've really made me think about something earlier when you said I was observing. I could observe, from my bubble. And that's another thing that's been hard for me because I am such an empath. I have been my whole life. And so when I do look out there, there's so much pain and suffering. And, so much of me wants to just have a little magic wand and say, take it all away. But I have to look at my own journey, right? And know that I had to go through my own pain and suffering for me to be where I'm at.
yes. And then let me add one thing for your audience, and also for you, or although I know you already know this, it's just a reminder. Um, who are we to sit here and say, I want to take the suffering of that ascended being? That's a lesson he or she are meant to learn, that they have chosen for them to expand. When we exert ourselves in somebody else's bubble, which we really like can't, and we can't change them, they're creating it the whole time. But from our perspective,
Yeah, thinking we can.
exactly. Always remind yourself, if I'm altering that person's path, they're not learning what they chose to learn through that specific. That's how they expand, how they chose. So when you like sit in humbleness and observe, purely observe, knowing that they're powerful, knowing that they are life, that they are light being, knowing that they are love, knowing that they literally have created that journey for them, specifically for them to expand. When we try to take it away from them, you are not honoring their choice, free will choice to live that way. And this is where the programming goes deeper. We have thousands of layers, even millions. This, you know what I mean? Of oh, but I'm witnessing suffering. But there is no suffering. There's the illusion of suffering. There's the experience of suffering. But in reality, you are pure love, you are pure light. It
Yeah.
is through your infinite power, like the Praying-Mantis being, and I have to close my eyes because I feel like they're here. It is through the infinite power that's within you as a divine that you create experiences of your infiniteness. If you were truly disempowered, you wouldn't be able to create an experience for yourself to begin with. So allow the being to be in the space, in the bubble, in the definition system, in the paradigm that they chose to be in, because through that path they are expanding.
Yeah.
They are creating their own mirrors for themselves to expand. And by you even witnessing them with disempowerment doesn't honor their journey. You know, look, we have a lot of homelessness here in Washington, D.C. And in the past, I would pass by, I would give money, I would give food, but on top of that, I would feel terrible.
Yeah.
I would view them in my mind as being very disempowered. And why did you choose a life like this? Because we're always comparing our lives to them in the subconscious. But now I don't do that anymore. I drive down the street, and of course, you still give money and like you still give food and you still assist. But now I view them as I drive. I'm like, you are more ascended master than I am, because you are so powerful, that you're that powerful that you chose to live this life of hardship to allow yourself to expand, but to allow me to witness unconditional love, compassionate heart, to open my heart even further and further and further and further, and expand it into what unconditionality means, and to begin seeing you as a divine light being, powerful, well knowing, fully supporting your old journey. Instead, oh, like when I'm thinking that their life is less than I or like whatever society said,
Yeah.
I'm sending that energy too of disempowerment. I'm like, no, I want to send them energy of empowerment. I want them to remember through my viewing of them, for them to remember themselves as divine, as light, as love, as the all, as you have a free will choice to change, as powerful.
Yeah.
Emanate that love to them, and it's still up to their free will choice to continue to be that, do that or not. But I don't want to give them energy of disempowerment anymore. And this is how we create impact with our thoughts, with our energies, with our stories and everything. So become aware of what dialogue you're giving yourself, but also how that's emanating to the recipient.
It's so interesting how we view like what is acceptable and successful and all those things. Those people that are homeless, a lot of them are a lot more freer than most of us.
Listen, I feel a prisoner of my own creation.
Right. Yes.
You're absolutely, I always say, be the disruptor of your paradigm, of your reality.
Yeah.
Disrupt
I say
everything.
divine defiance, but yes,
Totally,
the
totally.
disruptor.
Honestly,
I
it's
love
like,
it.
honestly,
Yes.
like be the disruptor, because when you are
Yeah.
the disruptor, it gives the opportunity for others to disrupt their life, because we're all in the same prison. Oftentimes, through your actions, I can be encouraged to do what you're doing.
Unconditioned, like unconditional love, right? Unconditional.
Yes. Yes. And look, I told my husband recently, because like the more that I awaken, the more I realize like the fact of owning a house and like owning a land is bullshit in our society. Why do we need to own anything on Mother Gaia or Mother Earth? It's our planet. We're all beings living on the same planet. But also the act of owning something puts you in one little pinpoint. I don't want to be in Washington. I love Washington, D.C., but I don't want to still be in Washington. I want to go every 3 months and explore my Mother Gaia, my
Yeah.
Earth that I live on. This is my Earth. This is all of our Earth. I want to meet people and live like a raven flying from one place to another, whether it's 2 months here, a year there, whatever. But the like the whole definition of owning something, it's a bit tricky because I feel like it's embedded within it like limitation to keep you in one place, not to experience the world, not to experience the fullness of who we are, not to experience freedom, to be
We
able.
don't really own it.
Exactly. Well, thank you. Thank you. That's
We
another
don't.
illusion. Thank you for that, Ascended
Yeah. I
Master.
think that is the new earth, right? That people talk about.
Go. It's like a raven. If the raven wants to
Yeah.
fly from this tree to the next tree to the next state,
Right.
the raven is gonna fly. Don't put a raven in a little box and say you can only go from to this tree to that tree.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
um,
no, never. And we should look to nature to be our teachers. I do. I've learned so much, from the seasons, from the bird. I'm a bird lady. I learned
we have
so
a
much from the birds.
We have a bird feeder in our backyard. We always fill it
Yeah.
with food. Amazing. And we have
Yeah.
5 dogs. Well, like we have four now. I'm like we lost one about 2 months ago,
Oh,
but like we're animal lovers, and I have bugs everywhere. I love like even if there's a bug at home, I never like shush it out. I'm like, hey honey, okay, it's cold outside. Just live here for a little bit, and I'm not. They're all light beings. They're not anymore. Ooh, they entered my house, and they have to. And I'm not worried of infestation. There's none of that. That's all fear
yeah.
paradigm. They're
Yeah.
ascended masters. They're coming to show me a message.
I love that you keep saying that. See everyone as an ascended master. I'm gonna go outside and see my neighbor and be like, you're a master. You're like, you are divine.
Totally.
Yeah,
And listen, do that. When
I
you
am.
actually do that, and it's gonna shock them, like, what the hell? Like, they may use like another word, the F word.
They're like, that's just crazy.
What the hell did you just say? But in that moment, know that that vibration went into their frequency, and they're gonna begin seeing themselves from a
Oh,
more empowered state. We
that's
give gifts to others when we alert them of who they are. Like, thank you for being my ascended master. Like, thank you for being or like my teacher.
my
Or just
teacher.
say, I just want you to know that you are my teacher and I see it. That's it. And like, it's going to crumble their world. Like, what the hell? Because they're not going to see themselves as teachers. They're going to be like, what the blank? Did you just, like, in their own mind? But that's going to activate them,
Yeah,
and they're gonna know that every time you see them, that you view them with reverence. It's gonna give them self-worth.
I know. I see that. I love
It's
that.
beautiful. It's beautiful when we see when we have the courage to say something that's so, like, when was the last time you're walking down the street and the person says like, thank you for being my teacher, unless you're the
Mm.
physical teacher at some school. That's a disruption of the paradigm, disrupt the norm. But it's so
Mhm.
powerful because you remind him.
This energy came into you and brought you all of this wisdom. through the praying mantis and
Antarean-Heart.
And are they from a different dimension?
They are from a different dimension. They are light beings.
Okay.
When they first came through, they came through my first past life regression, like that I had.
Oh,
Yeah. And then they came through three images. The first image was of a face of like the praying mantis, like a rectangular head.
yeah.
But the cool thing that happened is it was a quick flash, like, but within that flash, I was in it forever. It was
Wow.
two awarenesses. It's like your bubble where you were in the bubble and then you're outside
Yeah.
the bubble, but you were aware of both. I was aware of
Every-
micro split of a second of a flash, but yet I was in it for a long time. The
And
next image was this long bodied silhouette, like the head, the shoulder, and the arms like down,
yeah.
all made of light, right? It was just silhouette, like 20, 30 feet. It seemed very high. But I had a download or a message that says, we are not humanoid and we don't look like a human shape, but
Right.
we are coming to you in this way with our vibration and frequency of the light. Because your mind, if we come how we truly are, your mind will have no clue what it's looking at and it will just like jumble up. And
Just like in the Bible, do not be afraid, right? Fear not, Mary.
totally, I love that. That sounds like a little gay, like fear not, Mary, but it's
Mhm.
cute. Yes, fear not, Mary, because it just the mind would be afraid what it's looking at. The
Right.
third image was a beautiful image. I was inside of a heart. It was sliced into infinite slices, like slice, 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 into infinity. Each slice was faceted with the clearest crystal you can ever imagine. So I have this little crystal here, right? So this is kind of clearish. Like, I'm like whatever crystal clear you've seen in your own life, and like this is for your audience, you multiply this by infinity. It was intelligence, clarity. I don't know how to describe it. It was like I could see clarity, but it was like I was like completely dumbfounded how clear this was. Each of the slices was all faceted, and within that infiniteness, right? Because infinity like goes forever, but there was a point where there was a small grain of light, a small sand of light, and the message like came down that all of us, all consciousness, you're so powerful that you don't need a massive flame or a volcano or a big bonfire to remind yourself of your power. All you need is this grain of light that emanates, and I have chills, that emanates one like strand of light onto the facet, to your facet, to the next, the next, the next, to the infinity, creating a beautiful Merkaba of light or a vehicle of light. And in that moment, I immediately knew I was love. Oh my God. And like, look at my chills. I was love and I was light. Immediately. Beautiful. That's the Merkaba, guys. And in that moment, I just like when you have that knowingness, nothing can shake you away. And I knew that these beings also, like they're called praying mantises, they are of the love vibration, of the heart vibration. They were energy. And like they live in another dimension and they weave through dimensions. They're the architects of universes.
And
Like
they've been coming here for millennia from
millennia.
the beginning, right? Because
Totally.
I mean, people have depicted them on, and
Exactly.
have drawn them on walls. Very beautiful. I just think that, more people are waking up. They have more podcasts like this than ever. One of the reasons why I made this podcast to begin with was because there wasn't as many. And now it just seems to be unraveling, right, really quickly. And so, in all of these different energies from different, interdimensional beings are coming forth.
And look, all these podcasts, all these, there's a lot of channels that are waking up or light. And look, so I teach like a channeling class, and I always say like in like the channeling class, it's easy for us to begin creating an image of what channeling is. You hear Bashar,
Right.
you hear me, you hear somebody else,
Yeah.
and you think channeling is verbal. Channeling should sound like this. No, channeling is literally allowing your flow to be. And you can channel anything. Channel a song, channel a painting, be like light language, channel dance, channel work, even a new business. Channeling is simply allowing the flow of information, your wisdom to completely, to
It's
constantly
unconditioned.
unconditioned, exactly, flow of information and allowing trust and synchronicities to unfold the magic. That's what channeling is. But all these podcasts are really important. All these beings that are coming out, humans that are expressing their way, because we are infinite and we need to see the infinity of all the podcasts, how they're explained, how they're spoken from you to
All
me.
those layers of the clarity and the facets of, yeah.
And
They're all
each one is
different.
awakening the right, because each one will attract the right vibration of frequency. Because look, like you may get an audience, they may understand the English of this, but is not like connecting. But
Mhm.
like they may watch like another podcast where they connect, somebody else said something else and made sense. So we all, through our vibration and frequency, are attracting the right amount of people to hear, to listen, to help awaken
Mhm.
humanity. And when you also begin seeing the other podcasts and the people as you, another version of you, allowing humanity to expand, how freaking beautiful. Like, yes, go for it. Have a million podcasts out there because it's all for us to begin with. You're doing it for you. And also like what I tell my clients is don't rob me from expanding through you,
Mm.
right? Because sometimes, I get emails, oh my God, I know you're busy, but do you have time to channel for me, blah, blah, blah. And like, there's all that fear to ask. I'm like, ask. The worst thing I could say is no, or like we schedule it 6 months from now or whatever it is. But I'm like, don't rob me from, because I expand. Because when I'm channeling for others, I know, and I
Mhm.
always tell them, I'm not channeling for you. I am such a powerful being that I'm creating this whole elaborate story that there's a complete separate human in front of me that wants a channeling
Oh,
session. And through her or his questions, they're asking me, I am learning through you.
they're
You
an
are my
ascended
ascended
master.
master. Yes, you are my ascended master. I tell them that because I'm like, don't rob me from expanding. Like, have no fear. Ask,
Mm.
be, do. And the more you expand, the more I'm expanding because I see you as my other version. So be
Mm.
you, like for your audience, whatever you are, guys, you are more than the one label. You are not just a man or a woman or a son or a daughter or an architect or a
Right.
garbage guy or works at McDonald's or is a real, whatever, all these crazy labels that humanity created. That's
Mm-hmm.
one little part of the infinite that you are. Be a
Yeah.
dancer, sing on the street, go outside, talk to the trees, hug a tree, hug Mother Earth, lay on the grass, explore things. Like today, lay on the grass and never lay on it again. And like tomorrow, go hug a tree and never hug a tree again.
Yeah.
The more you allow yourself to be the all, the more you expand. And remember, as you be the all, you open up. It's a key to open up a doorway you never opened before. And you
Yeah.
don't know what's going to come through that doorway. An act of hugging a tree only once in your lifetime allows the connection with that tree to allow wisdom from that tree to come to you because you opened the door. An act of hugging a dog or hugging a neighbor or hugging the floor or speaking to a bird or just looking at the star. I look at the moon like
Oh.
oftentimes I get called. I don't know what the hell I'm saying, but I look at the moon like, dude or dudette, he, she, it. I don't know what's going on here, but I know there's messages. I'm open.
Yeah. God, I love you. Tony, you're amazing. I really enjoy your energy. And I love that now because this is the other thing, is I know that even for me, this is how this podcast happened. It was like I had healed through so much. And I just wanted to share this, that if I could do this, anybody can do this. If I can awaken and find unconditional love, find self-love. Oh my God, I just wanted to share it.
I totally feel you because the moment I felt unconditional love, I couldn't contain it. I'm like, I have to
Right.
share. But like the trick is there, the next level up is we're here, like the ones that are awakened, that are on this path, we're here to simply allow others to see the tools that are within them. And that's
Yeah,
it. I'm not here to change you. I'm not here to make you change.
right.
That's not our job. Our job is just to deliver like the message and allow you as a divine, infinite, powerful being to make a choice with all the infinite tools that you are aware of now.
Yeah.
Through us, through you, through the next channel, whoever they meet, and
Mm.
observe with humbleness your
Mm.
divine choice.
Oh, it's so exciting. I love to see people like discover, like, wow, I can do this. I didn't even know I could do that. Like receiving, such wisdom. I think I felt unworthy to ever receive anything like that. And that's not true, right? I mean, and for, many years I thought, wow, all these people in the Bible were so special because they were receiving all of this wisdom. And we're all disciples, we're all prophets, we're all divine.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you, because now you're prompting me like to say, like when I teach channeling or like when I'm on stage, I always tell people, please do not put me on any pedestal. Very
Mhm.
important. I am as normal as you are, and I don't have any special gift. We all can channel, and I'm looking at the screen. We all can channel. We all have channels. We just didn't realize we can't because we were never taught we're channels. I
Yeah.
am no special than anyone else. I have issues. I have insecurities. I have problems like you. I'm as normal as you are. I poop, I fart, I burp, I do all that stuff. I'm real. Every imagination and every trauma that you think I never experienced, guys, there's a lot within me. So I stutter. I've always stuttered all of my life. You may not hear it much, but it was one of the most prisoner thing. You know, I was molested when I was a child. Like, you know, my parents hit us with all kinds of things. It was culturally, like, you know, acceptable. School did some traumatic things to our kids. It was acceptable. I've gone through a lot of traumas, like every one of you. And this is not to say there's more traumas and less. Trauma is a trauma, right? However you see it. The point is, don't put us on any pedestal. All that we're doing is we're working through our fears of limitation that society and schools and cultures and parents and our own stories that we created that placed on, and we're just unraveling them and rewriting them. That's all we're doing, and we're hoping that you will see the wisdom within you and that you can and are changing your life, and you have the power. It's always within you. Whatever you created in your life that you think isn't good enough or wasn't good, you created that through your infinite power. And if you can create that through your infinite power, you freaking can create magic and love and light and whatever else you want. That's what we don't realize, because we think that happened to me from an exterior force, because we're taught Jesus is outside of you, the devil is outside of you, Krishna, Buddha, saints outside. That's why people run trying to reach them. They're not there, they're here.
Wow. What will you create today? You know?
I love you for asking that question. I have gotten to the point of creating more surrender to the flow.
Surrender. I knew you were going to say that.
Surrender to the flow, because if I say, you know, because it hit me, my higher self kind of came down and said, you better not say you want to create like, you know, X, Y, and Z. Like, this is for your audience. So if I had answered her question as, oh, I want to create love today or whatever, I want to create this, I just limited the universe to only creating that aspect of my infiniteness. But surrendering to the flow, which the flow is the infinite, which means within that flow, I have infinite tools and infinite experiences I'm swimming in. Then you just trust the divine, wherever. And listen, when you let go of fear and say, you know what, I am divine and my flow is divine, and I know that my flow, wherever it freaking takes me, like the river of my own journey, wherever it takes me is going to be amazing, and you trust it with no fear, then you create magic.
You create magic. You're going to create magic today.
And you too, honey. And for your audience.
Yeah.
And then also, like, for your audience, when you like witness dialogues like this, if it's with me and with Shanna and whoever else that you're witnessing, know that they are beyond the words that are spoken. There's a lot of energy that's being exchanged, a lot of light codes, a lot of healing. So the more you allow your heart to open, and the idea is not for you to believe or listen or, you know, believe and be on our vibration and frequency. No, but allow yourself to open your heart. Just listen. Doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have it does not have to all like to come together, but know that within your consciousness, vibration and frequency, seeds have been planted that will help you awaken. Those keys, those tools are already within you. As long as you open your heart to receiving, you'll receive whatever magic you are desiring within you. If you go in it with judgment, and that's okay too, know that you're closing that gate to receiving what you're meant to receive on your journey and path. Everything that you hear and listen to, whether you agree or not agree, always keep an open heart, because everything is ascended mastery for you. Everything is a mirror for you to see more of who you are. All of it, all of it, all of it.
Thank you so much. You are awesome. Thank you so much for stepping into this calling and connecting with these amazing beings that are trying to also help humanity here. Is there a website or like a Instagram?
Sure. So, so my website is the best way. Toni Ghazi, which is my first name, last name.com. All, like, you know, all my social media is there. All my events are there. All my classes are there. My whole story is there. It's a cool website. Yeah, and and I think my email is there. And my phone number also. I put my cell phone number there. If you guys want to text me, please feel free. I'm very open. I know some people are like, don't put yourself. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Whoever's trying to get in touch with me is me to begin with, like showing me something I need to see. So show me.
You're just giving out your number to Ascended Masters.
The more Ascended Masters I have, the better for me. Why not? So, yeah.
Yep, I get it. I get it, my friend. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for your heart. Thank you for having this podcast. Thank you for following your truth and your fears and seeing the mirrors and seeing how ascended you are and all the Ascended Masters that are around you. And I see you. I want you to know that.
Mm.
And I honor your journey fully with total humbleness. And I observe you create the beautiful magic that's within you, that's around you. That's the bubble that you are, which is creation, love, life, all of it. It's all you.
Thank you. You as well.
Sense of soul.